Hello students, this is Arun and this online learning content has been brought to you by Vidya, Jyoti, Eduversity. So in this presentation, we'll be talking about supervisory functions in F&B catering, and our subtopics would be introduction to the topic and the different supervisory functions. And this is for food and beverage service for Bachelors of Hotel Management and Catering Technology, 6th semester. Introduction. The category of staff in the middle part of an organization chart is known as supervisors or captains. So this category fills about 15% of the total number of staff. Their main responsibility is to supervise their lower staff and communicate them the decisions made by the top level management. A captain or a supervisor may be defined as the one who gets the work done through people. A supervisor or captain is a person who is responsible for the quality performance of his subordinates, with the right to recommend employment, promotion, demotion, discharge, and other personal actions. His job is to ensure that the work is completed in time in accordance with the company's policies and practices. So this is a chart where the top management is 5% of the total staff, the middle management is 15%, and the operational staff is 80% of the total staff in an organization. So what are these supervisory functions? The supervisory function are an essential activity performed by the supervisor staff to check if all the tasks of F&B service are carried out according to the standard set, so as to satisfy the customer and make them feel that they have received the money's worth. A supervisor or a captain should be dynamic and challenging so that he can handle all the types of situations that he faces. A supervisor or captain has to plan the task and organize the workforce available. He has to organize in a feasible manner to see that they are utilized properly for the effective achievement of the departmental and in turn the organizational goals. As the main job of the supervisor or captain is to get work done through team effort, much of the job emphasis falls on human factor. The interpersonal demands of directing subordinates towards high productivity, quality, and quantity standards dominate their work life. A supervisor or captain's role and the responsibilities are numerous and complex and require a unique blend of economical, technical, administrative, and personal skills. He is vital in an organization and he has to perform few important tasks such as briefing, monitoring, tips handling, training, staff scheduling, and reports generation. What is briefing? So all the wait staff are expected to attend the briefing in proper attire and conducted by the supervisor or captain prior to the service. So during briefing, the supervisor or the captain verifies the personal grooming of the staff to ensure the wait staff is in acceptable condition. Care should be taken that while attending the guest needs, the waiting staff also builds the image of the restaurant. Therefore, the following things must be checked by the supervisor or captain. All the staff should be properly trimmed and they should have their hair combed well. The men should be shaved properly as per the guidelines. All the staff should have properly trimmed nails. The jewelry should not be in excess. Well polished shoes, black socks or whatever are permitted by the organization, well polished nameplates, properly washed and ironed uniform, good health, and not suffering from any kind of cold or contagious diseases. Briefings also include keeping the staff motivated to perform in a better way. Of course, taking the attendance, check and find out the reason behind absenteeism if any, give special instructions for the day's operation, emphasis on discussions on the menu for the day, enhancing the staff's knowledge about the complete menu, informing about the items which are non-available for the day. If any items is to be promoted in the outlet, they need to be explained discuss the problems or any mistakes in the previous operations, give solutions or suggestions to the staff to make the operation smooth, allocation of the job responsibilities to be done for the particular operations, briefing time may be utilized for training of staff, and feedback may be taken to improve the performance. Also, briefing is one of the best opportunities to interact with the staff members to discuss about the operational activities. The key points must be handled very efficiently by the captain as to develop the sense of team building, and it is very important to create the cohesiveness among the staff members. If any kind of personal dissatisfaction exists, it must be tackled very efficiently by the supervisor or captain. Checking mise en place and mise en scene. So mise en place means keeping everything required in readiness for service, which comprises list of activities. Mise en scene refers to keeping the area clean and presentable. These activities are carried out prior to service. It is the responsibility of a wait staff to carry out all the activities to an acceptable level. The head waiter prepares duty rota to show the assignment of tasks to the staff. Handling of tips. Tips are the amount given voluntarily by the guest at the end of the meal or function to the service staff appreciating their good work. In most hotels, tips are taken only by the service staff and not shared with the kitchen staff. In the outlet, where the tips are pooled and then distributed periodically, supervisors have additional responsibilities on their shoulders. The best way to perform this task efficiently is to be transparent. While fixing the points to staff members, follow the organization's tips policy and take the acceptance of the manager and the staff. The following point should also be kept in mind by the supervisor or captain, that the captain ensures that all money received as tips is collected in the box. The total amount is counted and entered into the tips register after the operations. The tips are distributed according to the points. Each staff member is given fixed number of points depending on their seniority. The total money received during the week is divided by the total number of points that the staff members have. The amount is entered into the register and the signature is obtained against the name by all the staff. It is the duty of the captain or the senior captain to see that the distribution is fair and justified. A supervisor captain has the authority to consider the request for advances and loans. Stock taking. The supervisors or captain must maintain the stock of all areas under his or her control. It should be taken periodically, at least once a week, especially during the weekdays when the business is lean. This work should be assigned to a team of 2 to 3 staff in rotation. It is also known as the physical inventory and is entered in the prescribed format of the organization. It is not necessary that every time the department or the outlet gets back the closing stock as it opens. Few of the items like cutlery may be missing, crockery or glassware may be counted as breakage, and linen could be worn out while handling in the operation or in laundry. The outlets, especially outdoor catering, suffers a lot by this way in the operations. Requisitions. The requisitions for supplies required during service are raised by the senior steward and approved by the supervisor or captain, which are obtained from the stores. Supplies in the service area include edible and miscellaneous items. Edible supplies are sugar, proprietary sauces, salt, pepper, butter. Miscellaneous supplies include paper napkins, doily, paper, straws, placemats, toothpick, etc. So no material from any department or area should be collected without requisition for proper control and costing purpose. It is the responsibility of the supervisor or captain to ensure the restaurant is stocked with adequate supplies that are required for mise en place and mise en scene. Staff scheduling. So the supervisor or captain must be aware of peak days and rush hours to do the staffing accordingly. Forecasting busy schedules and staffing according is the key to success. Few points to be kept in mind, and these points are as follows. The schedule should be displayed well in advance, at least 2 or 3 days before. Staff distribution should be optimal, that is, maximum staff with most efficiency should be scheduled on the peak hours. Holidays should be evenly distributed throughout the week with the same number of people on leave each day, except on the rush days. Staff should be rotated in each shift weekly or fortnightly depending on the situation. To facilitate proper rotation, equal number of people must be present on each shift as far as possible. Any special requests for holidays or shifts should be granted as far as possible without affecting the operations, and whenever necessary, overlapping should be done during the peak hours. Another important function performed by the supervisor is sales analysis. This is the most important function of a supervisor or captain. The supervisor or captain must analyze the sales at the end of the day, week, and month in order to be aware of the following: actual sales and budgeted sales, fast moving dishes, dead dishes, average revenue per waiter, least revenue generating waiter, most preferred tables, slow moving dishes, and components of the total sales. Cost analysis. Cost refers to expenses incurred in producing and for serving goods. In food service, it includes all expenses that occur right from the procurement of raw materials to washing the soiled plates of the guest. Every employee should be committed towards containing of costs so as to earn more margin of profit, and these are basically three types of cost: food cost, labor cost, and overhead cost. Food cost. Food cost is the cost of ingredients involved in the preparation of dishes meant for sales. In food service business, stores issue ingredients against the requisition to the kitchen for the preparation of dishes meant for sales as well as for staff meals. Labor cost is the cost of labor which includes all expenses incurred for the welfare of the employees in cash and kind, other than the salary and wages. Cost of staff meals, accommodation, transportation, medical expenses, trading costs, etc. will come under the labor cost. The food industry generally keeps the labor cost in between 20 to 25% of the total cost. Overhead cost is the expenses other than the food and labor. They include the cost of water, gas, electricity, telephones, postage and stamps, rents, interest, depreciation, etc. The catering industry generally keeps the overhead cost in about 20 to 25% of the total cost. Handling complaints. Success of food and beverage operations is ensured when the need and the expectation of the guests are met. Guest prefers the outlets where the complaints and related issues of the catering are solved efficiently. It is the duty of the supervisor or captain to resolve any kind of dissatisfaction caused to the guest. Good experience by the guest is not only repeated business, but it also multiplies by various factors. Complaints from food and beverage operations are basically of two types: food related and attitude related. Handling complaints. Food related complaints are caused when the expectations of the guest do not meet in the food which is going to be served or which has been served. So these may be related to the portion size, quality, wrong temperature and texture, wrongly presented, unbalanced elements of the ingredients in the meal preparation, wrong taste, etc. So the related issues must be defined to the kitchen department for the corrective action. Attitude related complaints come under the second category, which are associated with the staff behavior. Poorly groomed personnel, ignorance, arguments, delayed service, tips, demand, etc. are these kinds of issues which generally show also the casual attitude of the supervisor or captain in the food and beverage service outlet. It needs the corrective action required by the training of the new as well as old employees. Many of the times the supervisor or captain implies the punishment to rectify the attitude and behavior of the employee by various methods as reduction of points in tips, shifting of the day, allocation of other shift, etc. Training the staff. All employees of an organization must be trained continuously so as to deliver the products and services as per the standard set by the organization. The requirement of training for an employee must be identified by the supervisor or captain, and it may be felt by various ways like frequent guest complaints, poor performance, and low level of productivity, breakages, lack of interest in job, accidents, wastages, frequent absenteeism, etc. Every hotel has a training department to train the staff to excel in their job. It is the job of the supervisor or captain to develop the schedule of training for his subordinate by coordination of the training department. Training fills the gap between the current performance of an employee to the performance level expected from him. A regular training results in improved performance and high level of productivity, confidence, increased level of guest satisfaction, repeat customers, low staff turnover, high level of job satisfaction, increased level of interpersonal relationships. Managing discipline. Discipline is the hallmark of a good hotelier. Following are some general guidelines to maintain a disciplined team. Ensure that there are written house rules and code of conduct. Motivate staff to follow rules. A fault committed must be checked at once. Always be disciplined. Set an example in front of juniors. Satisfaction and increased level of interpersonal skills will be translated by disciplined team. Standard operating procedure. A standard operating procedure is a set of written instructions that document a repetitive activity followed by an organization. The development and use of the standard operating procedures are an integral part of a successful quality system, as it provides individuals with information to perform a job properly and facilitate consistency in the quality of a product or service. So in conclusion to this presentation, we can see that we've defined the importance of the hierarchy and the system in the restaurant, the activities to be carried by the supervisors before, during, and after the operations. The supervisor requires the specific skills to smoothen the restaurant operations. He also shows how the tasks are done in various jobs of the restaurant supervisor. An understanding of these processes will provide the necessary foundation for those seeking to understand the supervisor's job in food service. So the sources of this presentation were EPG Pathshala and Food and Beverage Management by Mr. Sudhir Andrews. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask questions at hod.scmi@gmail.com. Keep learning, and thank you from Vidya, Jyoti, Eduversity.